Have you ever started something feeling super motivated, only to lose that drive a few days later? That's because motivation alone isn't enough. I used to rely on motivation to get things done, but then I realized that it's not sustainable. So I'm going to share with you today how discipline can help you stay consistent even when motivation fades. So let's talk about motivation first. Motivation, as defined by Cambridge Dictionary, not Oxford Dictionary today, is the enthusiasm for doing something. And I see motivation as temporary and emotional, because motivation feels like that spark, that burst of energy or excitement, that enthusiasm that you have. And it tends to be quite short-lived, doesn't really last for a long time. Motivation tends to come and go depending on how you feel or what's happening around you. Like, for instance, you might watch an inspiring, motivational video of this role model, this person empowering you, giving such an empowering, motivational quote. And suddenly, you just feel unstoppable. You feel like you can do anything. But then after a day or two, that unstoppability, that sort of mindset probably then starts to fade away. And motivation relies on outside triggers, external triggers, like someone cheering you on, a new goal, or the desire to prove something to someone or to other people. Or from watching a video, a inspiring motivational video, or reading a motivational quote. For instance, you might feel motivated to study after watching a video of someone who successfully was able to study for 3 or 4 hours. But once that motivation, that inspiration to study for so long hours, for like 4 hours goes, it's so easy to then slip into your old habits and to your old ways. And that is where discipline, or being consistent, comes right in. Discipline, using Cambridge Dictionary definition, is the ability to control yourself or other people even in difficult situations. So discipline is a consistent habit that keeps you going. It's like a steady, unwavering force, I guess. And it's what pushes you to show up every day, even when you're feeling tired, unmotivated, and you're literally on the verge to quitting. And I feel like it's more internal and it's more based on commitment rather than emotional, like motivation. It's rooted in the promise you make to yourself. It's about sticking to a routine. The most common example people tend to use is when you don't feel like exercising, but you're committed to do it every morning. The discipline will help you to get out of bed and get onto your exercise mat. Or let's make it a bit more realistic. Let's think of our sort of everyday routine. Let's think of brushing your teeth, for instance. You may brush your teeth 2 times a day, and that is discipline. That is you being disciplined. There may be times when you don't feel like brushing your teeth in the evening, maybe due to you being tired and you just don't really feel like doing it. But you'll still get up and go to the bathroom to brush your teeth because brushing your teeth is important to you. That commitment to brush your teeth 2 times a day is there. So therefore, you are being disciplined. So if we really think about it, we do it in our everyday lives, but we don't really think about it too much because it's just become a routine, it's become a habit. Going back to why relying on motivation doesn't always necessarily work, is because motivation, or just relying on motivation, can be quite unpredictable. It's like the weather. It can be sunny and nice and shiny, energizing one day, but then the next day it can be rainy, dull, and miserable. And if you just rely on your motivation, your progress will just go up and down, up and down, up and down, because it'll be quite inconsistent. And then that inconsistency can sometimes just lead to frustration. If you motivated yourself that I'm going to study for 2 hours today, but then you don't do it tomorrow, or you don't do it the following so and so days, you start to feel a bit frustrated with yourself, and that's not good either. So I'm not saying that motivation is not good, because it is. It is good to have that boost in energy, but it's also important to not just solely rely on it. Whereas being disciplined allows you to be consistent, it builds consistency, it builds a routine. I think they say that for something to become a habit, you have to do it for 30 days. Starts with knowing what you want to achieve. So it can't just be something like, I want to get fit, I want to study more. You need to be more specific. It's about applying the SMART goals. So being specific, being measurable, it to be achievable, relevant, and time bound. And try to set your goals SMART. Use the SMART guidelines to help you build achievable and sustainable goals. And with that, start small. If we go back to studying, if you're not used to studying for a long amount of time, for long hours, like 3 hours, don't give yourself that task or goal to study for 3 hours. Break it down into small chunks. Maybe, okay, I want to study full on for 30 minutes and see how you do. And then as you continuously do it for 30 minutes and you can see that you are able to consistently achieve that goal of studying for 30 minutes, you can then progress it. Maybe do it to 45 minutes and then do it to an hour and then do it to an hour and 15, an hour and 30, an hour and 45, 2 hours, and so on and so forth. So your end goal is still studying for 3 hours, but you're doing mini achievable goals so that you can then reach your end goal of being able to study for 3 hours. And that's what's important. And track your progress and monitor your efforts that you've done so far. And give yourself mini rewards for achieving them, because that will then help you drive to be more consistent. Celebrate your consistencies. And then how to stay disciplined when it's hard. Yes, I can say yes, stay disciplined, that's really good. But then what about those times when it's difficult? How can I still be consistent even during those times when I don't feel like it? When I feel unmotivated? And my tip for you is to always think about why you started it. Remind yourself of the bigger picture. What would you like to achieve? What do you see your future self that has achieved that goal that you want to do? Why did you start? What's the end goal? Always keep your purpose in mind, and that can help you push through those tough days. So for instance, in context of being a GCSE student or a student that has exams, SATs, IB, A-levels, or whatever type of exam you may be doing, you could tell yourself something like this: I'm studying so that I can pass my GCSEs and feel confident about my future. That's worth more than skipping one study session. So there you've identified your goal, well, your end goal, which is to pass your GCSEs and therefore feel confident about your future. Because that is my end goal, that is more important than skipping that study session. So using that sort of language can be really helpful. Having an accountability partner, so someone that you can trust, that you can share your goals with. Having someone to just keep you in check, be a way to motivate yourself to be committed to your commitments. So for instance, you can tell your friend that you plan to study 1 hour every evening, and for them to just ask you how it went at the end of the week. So to summarize, let's say, motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. The key to consistency is building habits and showing up, even when you don't feel like it. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be consistent. And as they say, Small steps every day leads to big changes. So my question to you is, what is one thing you will commit to doing consistently starting today? And let me know in the comments section down below. Bye.